Okay. Sensei say, please get it started, so. All right. They're coming. All right, I'll give it 5 minutes. We need the bell to ring. There we go.
Namanda Vatsinamanda 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 Vatsinamanda.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
We'll begin today's service with meditation followed by Nimbutsu.
Namu Amida Butsu.
Amanda Butsu.
Namu Amida Butsu.
Amanda Butsu.
Namu Amida Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu.
Okay, good morning again, everyone. My name is Alan Kawaguchi, and thank you for joining us for today's spring Ohigan service. We are honored to have the Reverend John Iwahara from the Gardenias Buddhist Church in person as our guest speaker today. Thank you, Sensei, for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be here with us today. A little bit about Ohigan. Higan means the other shore of nirvana in Japanese, as opposed to this shore, right? So it's sort of a metaphor for crossing over from this shore where we have to deal with anger, greed, ignorance, and such to the other shore. That represents nirvana and peace. It's a time of equilibrium. Basically, around this time, there's a day and time. I forget when it is officially this year. We call it the first day of spring. I think it is next weekend, but it's from a scientific point of view, it's called a vernal equinox or spring equinox, where the day and night are supposed to have the same length. And it's sort of a time of equilibrium and balance. So that's what this service is all about. Okay, we will now continue the service with the chanting of the Sambujo, which is called the Three Respectful Callings. It can be found on the inside cover of the service book. This will be followed by the aspiration of today by Reverend Shibata.
On this occasion of the Buddhist Church of Stockton's annual observance of the Spring Ohigan, we are gathered together to adorn the shrine of Amida Buddha, burn incense, chant the sacred writings, and deepen our understanding of the Buddha Dharma. During the spring and fall equinox, when the hours of day and night are equal, the sun symbolically rises in the east and sets in the west toward the direction of the Pure Land. We gather to listen and meditate upon the teachings of the Buddha Dharma as clarified and transmitted to us by Shinran Shonin. Namu Amida Butsu. Namu Amida Butsu. Namu Amida Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu.
Okay, rise if that is comfortable for you to do so for the singing of the Gatha when we see the golden sun. The Gatha can be found in the program or in the service book on page 227. This will be followed by the recitation of the three treasures, which is also in the program or on page 2 of the service book.
Three treasures. Hard is it to be born into human life. Now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the teachings of the Blessed One. Now we hear it. If we do not deliver ourselves in the present life, no hope is there that we shall be freed from suffering and sorrow in the ocean of birth and death. Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in Buddha. May we all together absorb into ourselves the principle of your way to enlightenment and awaken in ourselves your supreme will. I take refuge in Dharma. May we all together be submerged in the depth of the doctrine and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in Sangha. May we all together become units in true accord in your life of harmony in a spirit of universal oneness, freed from the bondage of selfishness. Even through ages of myriads of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of Tathagata's teaching. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu.
We will continue with the chanting of Jusei, which is on the back of the program or on page 95 of the service book.
Kagon Chosegan Hishimu Jodo Shigan Fumanzok Seifu Jo Shogak Gawon Ryoko Fui Dai Seishu Fusai Shobingu Seifu Jo Shogak Gashi Jo Butsudo Myosho Jo Jipo Kukyo Mishomon Seifu Jo 利欲人少年上映主凡行しぐむ浄土一生天にし自力現代行不償無才道少女三苦名交際集約難回避地平原滅死公務犯永息小悪道通達全宗門高僧満足異様老人法日月集中期天候本部言一種解放層公正苦毒を両大集中説法ししく供養異細物具足習得本金出上門得意三害用女仏無下地通達未不詳願学へ力投資最小損志願や国家大聖の感動国書天人当地名家ナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブナマンダ願にしぐどく平等聖祭道も大心お嬢ナマンダブツナマンダブツナマンダブツナマンダブツナマンダブツナマンダブツナマンダブツナマンダブツ Namandawas.
Okay, we will now have incense offering by the following representatives. Dharma School student Evelyn Diaz. Dharma School teacher Mike Shibata. Sangha Club Jules Belts. Young Buddhist Association George Fuji. Young Adult Buddhist Association Linda Kawaguchi. Adult Buddhist Association Dolores Matsumura. Tomonokai Motoe Takahashi. Stockton Buddhist Women's Association Darlene Bagshaw. Stockton Bukyo Taiko Chris Kubo. Cortez Hawakai Debbie Nakade. Buddhist Church of Stockton Candy Hayashi. Okay, Reverend Shibata will now introduce our guest speaker, Reverend Iwahara, who will give the Dharma message, Dharma school message.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today on this beautiful day. I'm really honored and privileged to introduce our guest speaker, Reverend John Iwahara, and he's been with us this entire weekend, so we're so glad that he was able to take time out of his busy schedule to not only be our guest speaker this morning, but also the guest speaker for our spring seminar. So thank you again, Sensei, for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us. So Reverend John Iwahara received his first level of ordination called Tokudo as a Jodo Shinshu Buddhist priest in 1983 while he was an exchange student at the International Christian University in Tokyo, Japan. After returning to America, he received his BA in psychology from UCLA. Following undergraduate studies, Reverend Iwahara then attended, I need your help again, Wilfrid? Wilfrid. Lawyer? Laurier, because it's in Canada, a university in Canada, earning an MA in social and community psychology. And then he went on to Japan to pursue formal studies in Jodo Shinshu Buddhism at Yukoku University. And after earning the MA degree and completing his doctorate studies in Jodo Shinshu Buddhism at Yukoku University in Kyoto, Japan, he was assigned to the Buddhist Churches of America. And Reverend Iwahara has served in temples in Fresno and Seattle, Vista, which is in the San Diego area, Venice, and Los Angeles, and is currently assigned to the Gardena Buddhist Church. And Reverend Iwahara has been serving as a BCA minister for over 30 years. So thank you, Sensei, for coming today to be our guest speaker. And without further ado, onegaishimasu.
ナマンダーナマンダーナマンダーナマンシャリ発主情機関者まさに発願してかの国に正然と願うべしゆえはいかん格のごときの正常善にとともに一緒に得することを売ればなりとナマンダウスナマンダウスサリプットラ The people who hear of that land should aspire to be born there. Why? It is because they will be able to meet together with such sages of supreme virtue there. Naman daos, naman daos. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. The passage that I just finished quoting as my Gosandai is found in the Amida Kyo, which is, I'm sure, in your service book somewhere. Oh, starts on page 103, and I'm sorry, I'm not as prepared as I should be. I don't have time to actually find the passage that I quoted. But if it were to be chanted, it would be chanted as Shari Hosu Shujo Monja Oto Hotsugan Shohi Koku Shoi Sha Ga Toku Yo Nyoze Shoujo Zennin Kue Issho. And the Amida Kyo is very, very important to all Pure Land Buddhists, because this is one of the three sutras that lays the foundation for the entire school of thought of Pure Land Buddhism. And the establishment of these three sutras is what helped to make Pure Land Buddhism an independent school within Buddhism. And with that, Pure Land Buddhism became lined up together with other schools of Buddhism found in Japan, including Zen, Tendai, and Shingon. What distinguishes Pure Land Buddhism from the other schools of Buddhism is its emphasis and complete reliance on repeating the name of the Buddha, or Namo Ami Dabutsu. Whereas, I'm sorry, I'm going to keep to the message that I prepared, but as I look out, the back of my mind is really wanting to say something really dumb. but I'm going to refrain from doing that. Now, I'm sure that all of you have learned and studied that Shakyamuni Buddha is said to have taught 84,000 different paths towards enlightenment. And the reason why there are so many lessons that Shakyamuni Buddha taught is because the Buddha taught to individuals. And so every message that the Buddha gave was directed towards a particular individual or a group of people. And in having taught the three Pure Land Sutras, there was a specific group of people that Shakyamuni Buddha especially wanted to teach. And over time, to help us to understand what it was that Shakyamuni Buddha intended in teaching these 3 Pure Land Sutras, commentaries were made by each of the 7 exalted priests whose image is on to your far left in the altar. And in this history, we have a very long and very deep tradition, a legacy of the importance of saying Namo Amida Butsu. And we discover that this legacy has existed practically throughout the entire history of Buddhism. Unfortunately, the religious language that is used by our texts has almost become an incomprehensible foreign language to most of us. And this, I think, has the potential to becoming a huge handicap. Now, I'm more than likely going to mispronounce a lot of the words that I'm using, but wie geht es dir? Geht es dir gut? Como tu vas bien? No? ¿Cómo está? ¿Estés bien? Okay. Jak sprawi you tebu us harasto? No? Well, I probably butchered most of the pronunciations, but what I was trying to say wasn't all that hard. All I was trying to say was, in English now, how are you? Are you well? Which is simple enough, but only if you can understand the intent and what was being asked of you. Otherwise, it's just blah, 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 blah. So that the Amida Kyo doesn't just sound like blah, 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 blah to you, in the section where Amida Kyo talks about who goes to be born in the Pure Land, the expression, a good person, either male or female, is used. And when this good person hears about Amida Buddha and holds the name of Amida Buddha for even 1 through 7 days, this person will be born in Amida Buddha's Pure Land. And Amida Kyo has already stated that all who are born in Amida Buddha's Pure Land will become a Buddha. And because of this, the Amida Kyo encourages all of us to aspire for birth in this Pure Land. It seems simple enough to understand. In the passage that I used as my Gosandai, we are being encouraged to seek birth in the Pure Land because we will be able to meet together with such sages of supreme virtue there. And so it would seem that everyone in the Pure Land is a wonderful person and that we do not need to worry about meeting any bad people in the Pure Land. But Amida Kyo describe our world as the Saha country and land. And Saha is a word that means endure. In the Amida Kyo, we're told that this Saha world, or a world that we have to endure, is a world that is filled with 5 defilements. And because our world is filled with these 5 defilements, our world is also described as the evil world, or if that sounds overly strong, as the bad world, or akuse. These 5 defilements that describe and define our world are the defilements of time, views, troublesome worries, multitudinous beings, and life. So if you open up the Amida Kyo, you'll find this passage in. To describe what these 5 defilements are, the defilement of time is when the other 4 defilements occur. And the defilement of views is when we hold errant views, which includes things like our prejudices. And the defilements of troublesome worries is when we allow our greed, anger, and stupidity, the three poisons, dictate how we relate with each other and the world. The defilement of multitudinous beings is a result of allowing the defilement of views and troublesome worries define who we are. And the defilement of life is marked by ever-shortening lifespans. This last point, we might think, shows how we are no longer the same bad world as described in the Amida Kyo. But at the same time, true that we're also more scared about lives than ever before. We worry about things like pandemics now, about tainted food, about drugs, about hatred and violence, and the results from it. We worry about finding plastic in our water, and now we have to worry about war again. And if you're younger, then you might also be worried about being able to have and maintain housing, clothes, and food. We might also worry that our lives aren't good enough and that there is something lacking in our lives. Descriptions seem appropriate, then our world is the Saha world, a world that we need to endure. So who is this good person in this world that we have to endure that the Amida Kyo was talking to us about? Who is this good person? Is it the person who is able to endure all of these things the best? Is it the person who can gaman? And is this why the word gaman, endure, has become such an important word to us? And if that's the case, then it seems that only the strongest or the toughest amongst us are the ones that get to be born in the Pure Land. And in this scenario, what place, if any, does kindness have? Is kindness teaching someone to endure, to gaman? Now, I don't necessarily have an answer to this, but if this is what Pure Land Buddhism is, or what it's trying to teach, that what we need to do is be able to endure our lives, then all I can say is that I don't think I care for that teaching. And I'm sure that it does feel good to be rewarded for being able to endure something better than others, or being able to say, yeah, I did it. I made it. But for myself personally, I would much rather learn how to say thank you. And maybe this is what a weak person says. But in a world that can appreciate thank you, there is plenty of room for kindness. And kindness is often expressed in something as simple as asking someone, how are you? Are you well? Kindness is special because it is an expression of caring. And when we are able to meet with and receive a caring heart expressed as kindness directed towards us, we find it very easy to say thank you. And as Buddhists, the ultimate expression of the caring and kind heart is what we have learned to call compassion. Compassion is the caring and kind heart that doesn't just simply ask us, how are you? Are you well? It is what asks us, do you know that I will give up enlightenment for you? Do you know that I can and will do this for you because your life is ultimately precious to me? Do you know that all is ultimately precious. And because all life is precious, do you know that you do not have to limit yourself to enduring your life? And that instead of enduring your life, you can do something like sharing your life with others. Do you know that the Pure Land that you will be going to be born to is a land of beauty and of treasures, and that everything there is beautiful and precious? Do you know that the reason it is made this way is because when you will go there, you will know absolutely for a fact that your life has always been beautiful and precious? Otherwise, why would I have vowed to give up enlightenment to have you join me here? Our world is described as the world of having to endure only because we don't see things correctly. Namami Dabutsu is always calling out to us, always letting us know, you are beautiful. You are a treasure. And because of that, you are perfect in the Pure Land. Your beauty, the treasure that you are, will add beautifully, perfectly to the Pure Land. And when it does, your light will shine upon everyone, just like mine. And when we are able to hear this, when we are able to meet with and receive this compassionate heart, a heart that is being directed to each and every one of us personally, I'm sure that we will find ourselves saying more than just thank you. We will find ourselves saying, Namo Amida Butsu. And it is this reason why we continue to gather for these services, to hear, to share in this teaching, not to endure our lives, to appreciate them. Let me conclude my message by making one brief comment to say thank you to this Dharma community of the Stockton Buddhist Temple. As far as I know, the Shibata family is the first family overseas, outside of Japan, to have 3 generations of priests. And I would like to take this time to thank the Stockton Buddhist community for obviously doing something right and making it possible for a family to have 3 generations. Becoming a priest is not hard, but it's not easy. And to demonstrate how not easy it is, there is only one family in the 125-year history of the BCA to have 3 generations of priests. There's one family that's close to being 3 generations, but she still has a couple years to go before she actually becomes a full-fledged priest. So, oh look, the future president of the BCA is sitting right there. So I would encourage the BCA to look into how this place has been able to nurture 3 generations of priests, because obviously something right is happening here. So with that thought, thank you all very much for everything that you do to support the Dharma, and for allowing someone like me to come and share in this service with all of you today. Thank you. Namanda, namanda, namanda.
Thank you, Sensei Iohara, for your wonderful and enlightening message. Now, please stand if it is comfortable for you to do so for the recitation of our pledge, followed by Nembutsu. And this is on the back cover of the service book.
Our pledge. Breaking out of my shell, I will share a warm smile and speak gentle words, just like the kind Buddha. Not becoming lost in greed, anger, and ignorance, I shall think and act with an open, just like the calm and peaceful Buddha. Not myself first, I will share in the joy and sadness of others, just like the compassionate Buddha. Realizing the gift of life I have received, I shall strive to live each day to its fullest, like the Buddha who tirelessly works to liberate all. Namu Amida Butsu. Namu Amida Butsu. Namu Amida Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu.
Okay, announcements. First, temple scholarship applications are available in the office, and they're due by noon on May 8th. The home and hospital visitation is on Saturday, April 4th. If you know someone 9 or older, I would appreciate a visit. Please notify the office by today or tomorrow. The Stockton Kings fundraiser is on March 1st at 5 p.m. Linda will have a little more to say about that.
Last chance, we've got 6 days. So far, we have sold, I believe, 40 tickets, and we do need 10 more in order to be able to host our table for outreach to the Stockton community at the game. Remember, this is a Stockton Kings game, not in Sacramento. So if anyone is available and would like to come, then you can buy the tickets on the website through the QR code that's provided on our flyers. We have flyers in the foyer and in the mini chapel. Or come see me during social hour after service.
Thank you, Linda. Panda Express fundraiser is on March 27th. There are flyers all over the place and announcements in the Karma. For those of you guys who need to know, there's a code, 9012433, and these are online orders. And obviously, a certain percentage of the funds come to our temple. Okay, the FDL, Federation of Dharma School Teachers League Conference is on April 18th, making the Dharma come alive. Keynote speakers are Bishop Marvin Harada and Yasu Ishida, open to teachers, students, and families. It's in Fresno. Next, requesting donations for the vintage Japanese treasures boutique, which is on May 2nd, Saturday. We will greatly appreciate any donations of vintage Japanese treasures to be sold, as well as Japanese-themed baked goods for the baked goods sale. And there will also be raffle tickets for $5 for a raffle for gift cards. Cans and plastic bottles are always being collected by the YBA. Please leave your recyclables in the white barrels by the mini chapel. Darlene, you have an announcement for next Sunday.
So if you were here last week, you heard this, but I'm going to do it again because I see new faces. So if you could indulge me and close your eyes. I want you to think about something you did this morning, and then imagine doing that with your eyes closed, not able to see. So my share is, I went to Amida Kyoto trying to find the passage that Reverend Iwahara said, thinking if I had the beginning that said Sariputra, I'd find it. Everything starts with Sariputra. But I wouldn't be able to do that without my eyes. So on March 22nd, next Sunday, for our Dharma School service as well as the SBWA service, we're going to have a very engaging speaker. But on a side note, our third generation resident minister, Reverend Candace, Reverend Iwahara, and our emeritus minister, Reverend Toyoshi, are very, very engaging speakers. So there's a little bit of a distinction here. But we have a very engaging layperson coming from Palo Alto Buddhist Church, Kathy Kwok. She has a genetic disease that has caused her to lose her vision over time. Going to do what our Dharma School theme is, and that's speak from the heart, and share this journey with us as we take the students and any of you that have a coffee hour through a dining in the dark experience. And then she will also continue on to be our speaker for the SBWA Dana Day service. And everybody in this Hondo is eligible to join SBWA, male, female, young, old. So if you are interested in joining BWA, the Buddhist Women's Association, and coming to this service, please let any member know, and we'll be sure to sign you up, and then you can share even more of Kathy's journey and her, as Reverend Iwahara put it, her kindness. She's a very, very kind person, and her share her story in her life. So please join us next week, and I think you'll enjoy this, and it is coming from the heart of a layperson sharing her journey with all of us. Thank you.
There's going to be a college and young adult welcome dinner hosted by the Buddhist Church of Stockton on March 27th. That's a Thursday from 6 to 8 in the... Oh, sorry, Friday, March 27th from 6 to 8 p.m. in the mini chapel. If they're interested, please RSVP to the office or to Reverend Shibata. And Debbie has an announcement.
I have a couple of announcements, so please bear with me. Alan reminded everybody that the Panda Express fundraiser is also on Friday the 27th. And I know a lot of people have said to me, oh, Panda, we like Panda, but we order something and, it's like takes us 3 days to eat it type of thing because they give you so much food. And so they do give us a very nice donation back for the fundraiser. It's like 28%, which is a very good percentage. But I just wanted to add that something that I do on occasion is, I may not be here on that Friday or be available to place my online order and go pick it up and eat my Panda meals, plural. And so when I think about it, we get 28%, that's a big percentage, but when you really look at it, the donation back is significant in the fact that it's 28%, but it's not a huge number of dollars. I mean, I'll be honest. So what I do a lot of times is I write out a check, $20, $10, $25, send it in with on the memo line, I'll say Panda fundraiser, so Peggy knows what bucket to stick it in. And, for a $10 donation, that's equivalent to like $35 of Panda food. And so $35 at Panda will feed your family, 3 times over or something. So, for $10 donation to the church directly, you're supporting the church, you're, supporting the Panda fundraiser in a roundabout way, whatever. So I just had to throw that out there. On the 29th of March, Michelle DeLucchi was scheduled to provide another stretching class, a yoga stretching class, but for a variety of reasons, we needed to cancel that. So that will not be happening, but we will go ahead and still have the gym open for the kids. 25th is the bento box fundraiser of April. So please support the church by purchasing a bento box. And I know a lot of people say, ooh, $25 for Loco Moco, that's a lot. But I was just in Hawaii and I paid $25 for my Loco Moco in Hawaii. So, we're right there with, fair market pricing. I have two save the dates. May the 31st is our 120th anniversary celebration. We're keeping it simple. It'll be a service, it'll be a lunch, potluck, we're still doing the planning on that, but just kind of put that in your calendar, May the 31st. We will be kicking off a capital fundraising campaign, just FYI, just so that you're not surprised, but you've heard me say this before, our facility is 56, 57 years old. Just like on your homes, we need to do maintenance, and the maintenance on a facility this big is not cheap, especially nowadays. So we're working on that. You'll see Brian's out doing some improvements right now. We're trying to get ready for the bazaar so that we can safely host the bazaar and all those who attend and our volunteers who work. The other save the date is October the 10th. The Northern California District, we're holding a family conference. Stockton is hosting it. It's here. Family, meaning, yes, we're going to have some activities for kids of all ages, including adults, but it's important for Stockton to put on a good presence since we're hosting it, so please save that date. And then two last things. Bazaar. We are in desperate need of a inside water and soda booth chair. So if anybody here is interested in helping out and chairing that booth, it's selling the water and the soda inside the inside the gym. Dr. Allen and I would greatly appreciate that. And then lastly, yes, finally. I was out this morning in the garden and I picked a bowl of snow peas. The snow peas are in, and then I pulled some carrots. And so I put them in the mini chapel there are some bags next to them. So please help yourself, but just know that you are all welcome at any time the church is open to go out to the garden and pick or pull whatever's there. And so it's not Sachi's garden to tend and pick and have available. It's a community garden. So the snow peas are really doing well. And so I went out this morning and picked a bowl full. And the snow peas are great. I grow them in my own garden. You can eat them raw. I stir fry them, side dish, whatever. They're really, really good. So please help yourself and know that you can, if you want more, you can go out to the garden and pick them yourself. The carrots are really they're like perfectly imperfect, and they are really, really, they're kind of big, and you say, oh, these are too big for me to eat. And maybe eating raw, they might not be the greatest, but I slice them in like coins and roast them, and all of a sudden the come out and they're really, really good and they're tender. And so just my plug for the community garden. I picked some garden carrots this morning, so please feel free to take those home, and there are still a few out in the garden for you to pull if you want to go out there and pull them yourself. It's a lot of fun. Okay, and I think that's it. Thank you. Do you have some more? Because we're going to have one more too.
I guess Sensei has some announcements.
Just one. But how many of you enjoy anime? Okay, good. So Mei has a passion for anime, and she's one of our minister's assistants. We will be starting a Buddhism and anime discussion study class. So it's going to be online. It'll be the third Thursday of each month, and we'll start in April. So we'll have a link to register, or you can email me, or you can call the office to register, and we'll be sure to get that link to you too. Okay, so it'll be the third Thursday of each month starting in April. If you have any questions, please ask Mei. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, are there any other announcements? This will now conclude the first portion of our service, and we would like to thank everyone for your attendance and Reverend Iwahara for the Dharma School message. Yes, okay, at this time, Dharma School students up to middle school are dismissed to their classes. Please come forward and offer incense if you have not already done so, and Reverend Iwahara will then deliver the adult Dharma message.
Okay, thanks everybody. So without further ado, we're again honored to have Reverend Iwahara as our adult Dharma message speaker. Thank you, Sensei.
Namanda, 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 namanda.小風法事を吹くときは5つの恩情をいだしつつ旧書を和して次年なり正常君を来すべしとナマンダブスナマンダブス。When the pure wind blows through the jewel trees, the 5 notes are produced. The notes Q and Sho harmonize naturally. One should lower one's head to the one purely imbued. Namandabs, namandabs. Good morning once again, everyone. I apologize to the high school student. I assumed that the Dharma school message was that the high school students would also leave during that time. But I'm glad you're still here. So, although I didn't do this for the Dharma school message, please let me take this opportunity to thank everyone here, beginning with Reverend Shibata, for inviting me to be your speaker here at this spring Ohigan service. Now, a little bit about myself. I didn't spend my entire life to this point there, but for all intents and purposes, I am from Los Angeles. And hopefully, this statement won't get me booted out of here, but I am a Los Angeles Dodgers and a Lakers fan. And I have been for as long as I can remember. But being a Lakers fan in particular, you discover that you are constantly exposed to discussions on who is the GOAT, the greatest of all time. And in these discussions, LeBron James is often mentioned, as is Kobe Bryant. But with regard to LeBron James, he has quite a few accolades behind his name. For example, LeBron is one of the youngest players to play in the NBA. He has also become the oldest player to play in the NBA. He is currently the all-time leading scorer, has the most playoff records, playoff points scored, has the most playoff wins, most playoff games played, and most playoff steals, to name just a few of the records that LeBron James holds. And at 41 years of age, he has played an incredible 23 years in the NBA. And what keeps LeBron James from unequivocally being called the GOAT is the number, or lack thereof, of championship rings he can put on his hand. But for someone who has accomplished so much, it's also very interesting to see how often negative comments about him are made. And when you look at that and consider that, you can't help but think, maybe it's true. It is lonely at the top. On the other hand, despite being a Los Angeles Lakers and a Los Angeles Dodgers fan, fortunately or unfortunately, my name will never come up in any discussion of who the GOAT is. About the only thing that I have in common with someone like LeBron James is how close to retirement I am. And instead of having my name associated with conversations about who is the GOAT, I would probably be associated more with an acronym like SHEEP, but that would be okay by me. And I'm saying this because, for me, SHEEP would stand for Shinshu honors and embraces every person. Now, unfortunately, that was my attempt at being clever. So I'll leave it up to you to decide how clever I am or am not. But getting back to the poem that I began with, this poem was written by Shinran Shonin, the founder of Jodo Shinshu Buddhism, and is found in a collection of poems titled the Jodo Wasan, or Praise in Japanese of the Pure Land. And I wanted to quote this poem because of how prominently the word wa, harmonize, is to this poem. This poem, Shinran Shonin is talking to us about the nature of sound and that of music, and is trying to relate this to our lives. And sound, in particular music, is very important to Jodo Shinshu Buddhism. And one of the major reasons for this is because without sound, we could not possibly hear Namo Amida Butsu. And in this particular poem, Shinran Shonin is talking about the different nature that even sound has in the Pure Land of Amida Buddha as compared to our world, or a world that we need to endure. In the Pure Land, we are told that it is a place of tremendous beauty. Even the trees are jeweled. Our world, on the other hand, is filled with much conflict and strife. We do have trees in our world as well, but it seems that we spend more time trying to knock them down, cutting them, or otherwise destroying them. In their poem, Shinran Shonin directly mentions the two notes, Q and Sho, of the traditional Chinese pentatonic scale. And these two notes do not sound well together. In fact, we typically can't handle the sound that these two notes make when played together. It creates the kind of reaction that we would typically have listening to a wonderful choir who has one singer singing off key. When Q and Sho are played together, it sounds off key. And to us, it would not be the sound of harmony, it is what disharmony sounds like to us. And when this happens, especially if we are a member of that choir, we would want to blame one, the other, or both people for creating a discordant sound and not making the choir sound as beautiful as we expected it to be. In the Pure Land, however, Shinran Shonin tells us that these two notes can and do sound good together and that they harmonize naturally. And so in the Pure Land of Amida Buddha, the differences in tone of these two notes are not allowed to define how they relate to each other. What is this trying to show us in our world? Why did Shinran Shonin write this poem? In our lives, we also have good experiences and we have bad ones. And we would say that the bad experiences that we have are the ones that make our lives feel off-key. And in this poem, Shinran Shonin is trying to point out to us that our lives are not limited to allowing the good or bad experiences define the quality of our lives. Shinran Shonin is trying to let us know that our lives are not about whether or not we have more good experiences than bad. The Shinshu will never to ask who is the goat, because every person is special. When we distinguish ourselves by saying, okay, who's the goat, this kind of discrimination only adds noise, discordant sound to the conversation that we are having. It doesn't matter who the greatest person is if having this conversation just makes everyone feel unhappy, or if it makes us feel uncomfortable or otherwise unpleasant. Jodo Shinshu wants us to be able to see that we can honor and embrace everyone. That is the whole point of Namo Amida Butsu. And because of this, Jodo Shinshu is always trying to help us to recognize that we neither need to drown out nor force the off-key singer in our lives to stop singing. We are being told that it is possible for these two sounds to harmonize, and that we can embrace and appreciate both sounds, both the good and the bad experiences in our lives. In other words, and this might be an expression that we haven't heard in a while, we are being told that we are accepted just as we are. And Shinran Shonin ends this poem by telling us to lower our heads to the one purely imbued. And this is a reference to Amida Buddha. In calling Amida Buddha the one purely imbued, after using the sound, Shinran Shonin is using the metaphor of smell, namely that of incense burning, to conclude their poem. And Shinran Shonin uses the word kunju, or imbued. And I'm sure that everyone here will agree with me that incense is wonderful. Part of the reason for this is because incense can and does teach us quite a bit if we allow it to. We discover that everyone within the aroma of incense is able to share in that aroma, not just smell the incense, but to share the aroma. And this is why the word kunju, imbued, is being used. Incense is something that clings. And because of this, even when incense isn't being burned, the temple hondo, this space, still smells like incense. And if we are burning incense, like today, and you are in this room long enough, well, you probably need to move up forward a little bit more for this to happen, but you will discover that your clothes, your hair is beginning to smell like the incense. And if you're here for a really, really long time, then you will discover that even your skin will begin to start to smell like the incense. And Shinan Shonin shares this image with us to let us know that life is like the aroma of incense. Aromas are not necessarily things that we can see, but we are aware of its presence. The aroma of incense, especially if you grew up around it, often helps to give you a sense of calm, of warmth, and that of belonging. In life, especially lived when it is shared and lived with others, is like this. If you have been coming to the temple long enough, then if you look around at the seats in the hondo, I'm sure that you will be able to look at certain places and think, you know, that's where so-and-so used to sit all of the time. And although there is a sadness associated with thinking this, and there is never a need to deny sadness, at the same time, thinking this and participating in today's service probably also brings a sense of calm, warmth, and a sense of belonging because you know that you have shared this space with that person. And with muted breath, we might even be saying, thank you, so-and-so. Thank you for being a great teacher and a great friend of Dharma to me. And this sense of calm, warmth, and belonging is the gift that is being shared with us even now by all those who have gone to the Pure Land or to the other shore before us. Having said all that, don't you think it's interesting that while today's service, the Ohigan service, is talking about the other shore of the Pure Land and suggesting that there are those of us who are no longer on our shore but have gone ahead of us. How even though this service is thematically connected to that idea, or that what we might call the afterlife, that this service is rarely, if ever, sad. Instead, when we gather for this Ohigan service, isn't the image that we have more of light than darkness? Even when we're talking about going to the other shore, we all know what that suggests. Yet, at the same time, this service is filled with very uplifting and very positive thoughts. Ohigan, like all of our services, is trying to help us to see that we can overcome the strife and suffering of our world and find happiness when we are able to honestly share our lives with each other. If we are thinking of those like so-and-so who has gone to the Pure Land before us, don't they help us to understand that because we shared the Nembutsu together, because we shared the immeasurability of our lives together, that all of our lives have become richer and deeper? And isn't it also true that the reason our lives feel deeper now is because we allowed someone else to touch our lives? We discover that our lives have been imbued by theirs. And this is a truth that Shinran Shonin is trying to help reveal to us in their poem. It is what the purely imbued one, Amida Buddha or Namo Amida Butsu, is trying to show us. Unfortunately, we often doubt what we cannot see. And it is why Shinran Shonin wrote a poem about sound and smell, because these are things that we also cannot see. And yet, despite not being able to see, we still know that these things, the things that we can hear and smell, are real. And we are reminded yet again that even if we cannot see something, that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It doesn't mean that these things can and still impact our lives. Part of why we gather today is to make sure that we understand that our lives, our human physical lives, are not permanent. Buddhism never allows us to run away from this truth. This is the harsh reality that Buddhism wants to make sure that each and every one of us understands, regardless of how off-key this may sound to us. Because if we do not include this sound in our appreciation of our lives, we cannot make all the different sounds that our lives can make. But because we can appreciate this note, this truth of our lives, because we are better able now to appreciate all those that have gone to the Pure Land before us, we are also being helped to understand that our lives don't just disappear. All the lives of all of our past friends in the Dharma are still being shared with us. We can still sense the aroma. We can even almost hear the sound. And because these lives are still being shared with us, our lives continue to share in all of their lives as well. This is the aroma. And our lives do become richer and deeper. And because their lives are still being shared with us, we are reminded and encouraged to share our lives, especially with those who we can still see and touch. Hopefully, when we begin to appreciate just how special these moments of our lives are, because we are no longer allowed to take them for granted, that we will spend time to share our smiles, our tears, our voices, and our hearts with each other. Until one day, when we become someone else's role model, when we become someone else's so-and-so who always sat where we do. And when this happens, we will continue to be able to share our lives. We will be able to help all who follow us to share their lives with each other. Shakyamuni Buddha did teach that birth is suffering, aging is suffering, illness is suffering, and that death is suffering. This is a truth that none of us can or should ignore. At the same time, however, Shinran Shonin through Namo Amida Butsu is helping us to see that these experiences do not have to sound off-key. These sounds in our lives can harmonize. The reason why being the goat is often lonely is because we have artificially picked one note as being separate and superior from all the others. It is lonely at the top, especially if you limit that space to just one person or to just a few people. This is true because notes don't become music until they are allowed to play with each other. And as we gather for the spring Ohigan service, we are once again being helped to see, hear, and smell the truth of our lives through the wisdom and compassion of the Buddha. This is why holding these services are meant to help us to hear Namo Amida Butsu clearer, more vibrantly than before. It is also why we are being moved to say Namo Amida Butsu ourselves, because thank you may no longer be enough. Through Namo Amida Butsu, we are being helped to see that the other shore doesn't just exist over there. It is a shore that reaches out to us and connects us through the ocean of the vow. The vow reminds us that we never ever need to keep score of our lives. We never have to worry about whether or not I have collected enough good experiences to overcome all the bad ones in order to consider my life a good one. I never ever have to worry about having too many bad experiences, because our lives are not that small. Our lives were never meant to become a collection and a tally of the good versus the bad experiences we may or may not have. And Namo Amida Butsu tells us that we do not need to do this because we are recognized and appreciated for who we are. Every moment of our life is affirmed, recognized, and appreciated by Namo Amida Butsu. And Namo Amida Butsu reminds us that it doesn't matter whether it is a good experience or a bad one, because our lives, these moments that we have, will never ever be repeated. Every moment of our lives is special. And it is for this reason why the vow constantly tells us that we are accepted just as we are, because our lives are just that special. The ocean of the vow, Namo Amida Butsu, connects us with all of the sights, all of the sounds, all of the aromas that are constantly being shared with us. These adornments are shared with us to help us to understand just how beautiful and special our lives are. In fact, Namo Amida Butsu tells us that our lives are so special that they are beyond measure. They are immeasurable, just like Namo Amida Butsu. Amida Buddha became the Buddha of immeasurable life to help us to understand this truth, but to let us know that the reason why life is immeasurable is because wisdom and compassion embraces each and every one of us. And because of this, Jodo Shinshu is constantly helping us to recognize that we neither need to drown out nor force off the off-key singer in our lives. We are being reminded to just keep singing. And we are encouraged to sing as energetically as we possibly can, because life is just that special. With this thought, please allow me to conclude my message and to once again thank everyone for inviting me to this very, very wonderful gathering. Again, final comment, I was told that not 3 generations, but 4. So there is another family that is close to 3, but you have helped to nurture the first third generation person several years back, and now you are in the middle of helping to develop the fourth generation, still ahead of the pack. And because the future BCA board president is still sitting right over there, this is something that the BCA should really, really study and look into, because this is a special and wonderful gift that the Stockton Buddhist Church has also become a very big part of. So thank you all very, very much. Namandavs, namandavs, namandavs.
Thank you to Reverend O'Hara. I think that concludes our service for today. There is refreshments in the mini chapel if you'd like to join us there. Thank you. For those of you who haven't given incense, please step up.